Hello, and welcome back to the podcast Talks with Kaya. I'm kind of trying to figure out the best way. I'm in a new setup again. When am I not in a new setup? But I'm kind of just trying to figure out the best way to hold the mic so then you don't hear like of the cord. So, I don't really have a plan for this episode. I don't have a script. I didn't really get ready for it. As you might be able to tell, I'm in a new spot. Like, I just happened to be sitting in this chair and I was kind of thinking, maybe talking out loud a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna film and see where it takes me. I do have a few plot points that I want to get through, but if this episode seems kind of all over the place, that's why. Just listen. Let's just have a good time. Yes. So, first thing that I was kind of talking about in my little thinking as I was sitting on this chair was about self-sabotage, because I recently found a book. It's called The Mountain Is You. I don't remember who it's by, but it's like a book about self-sabotage and how to like not do that. I think I don't know, it's just it's like a self-help book about self-sabotage and stuff, which I find to be really, I felt connected to it. I was like, I want this book, and so I haven't read it, and it's currently sitting in my Amazon cart, but that kind of inspired this thought train of self-sabotage and my own experience with that, and kind of figuring out why I would feel that way. I feel personally that I do a lot of self-sabotaging, and that could be the whole episode in itself, and the kind of mantra that I had for this year 2025 was to live through love and to lead through love and not fear, which I think a lot of my self-sabotaging comes from a place of fear. And it's a little ironic because I did recently get a tattoo that literally says fear is a liar, to remind myself, not even to remind myself, I got that saying because like I said, I don't want to live through fear, and I don't want to make choices out of being in my comfort zone and out of being safe because I'm scared of, venturing out, Yet here I am making this episode about the thing that I try not to do. But with that, I feel like I have kind of a good understanding of my own self-sabotage habits, behaviors, if you will. And I was thinking about how to get through this thing that I do to myself all the time. And I feel like this first step is figuring out why I do that. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of a time in my life that would cause me to do this, would cause this behavior. Usually people go through like traumatic experiences, and that's why they behave in certain ways or they do certain things. I can't think of like a spot in my life or accumulations of things in my life that has led to me doing this. And I've recognized this for so long. Like, this isn't like a new thing that I discovered about myself. It's been a good while, a good minute of me just like kind of holding myself back almost. And I can't really figure out why. I have a few ideas, of course, but at the end of the day, like, I think through those and I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And because I still don't have this book that I think is gonna change my life, honestly, I just started to think about self-sabotage. So if you don't know like what self-sabotage, what your self-saboteur is, it's basically just you sabotaging yourself. I don't know why there's no reason for me to explain that. I'm so sorry. It is pretty self-explanatory. But I'll give you a few examples from my experience. One of the biggest ones has been like relationships or like talking stages. I don't know. This is so corny and I absolutely hate talking about this, but I'm going to because I feel like I have a good grasp on it. I don't know. No, I don't. No, I don't. I feel like I have like something to say. I have something to add to like a conversation. So in my experience, again, I don't know why I do this. This is like a random habit that it's just so random, honestly. I will sometimes, either I'm in a relationship or I'm talking to someone or whatever, and I'll just find like one little thing and just like, I'll just end it. I'll just end it right there. And like some people are like, oh, and I got the ick or whatever, but I feel like this is a different kind of extreme that isn't very rational. And that's my biggest problem with it, is that none of my self-sabotaging habits is rational. It's not rational, especially when I try to think back of like, maybe there's a reason I do this and I can't think of any. And then I'm like, okay, now this is really irrational. But like in like relationships, I feel like if you broke up with someone, you would have a reason. Like someone could ask you like, why'd you break up with them? And you could have a reason for why you did it. Some of them I can't even remember why, because they were so irrational, so irrelevant that I can't even remember them, you know? And it gets to a point where I just have to stop and ask myself, does it make sense for me to stop being friends with someone, stop dating someone for this one thing? Or even if it's an accumulation of things, I've been working on it. I've been working on stopping myself, just taking a deep breath and going and thinking through it rationally. So there's an example, right? Another one is procrastination. I feel like that's a big self-sabotaging I feel like I've talked about this and like not thinking of procrastination as a habit. And it's like because it's like a coping mechanism. I don't know if I talked about that yet, but how that would work in the realm of self-sabotaging is like, for me personally, it would be my school assignments, homework, any of that. I would just procrastinate and I wouldn't do it, and I would save it till last minute, and then I would just be stressed, which I feel like is self-sabotaging because I'm already stressed enough. I'm just a stressed girly. Like I just worry about anything and everything for no reason. And so the procrastination, it was just adding on top like extra stress and anxiety that I didn't need. Okay, and my last self-sabotaging thing that I could think of, like there's probably more, but I can't think of them at this point, is like going out, if that makes sense. Okay, is like getting out of my comfort zone in the sense of like talking to new people, going out, you know, being with friends. And here's why I think this, for me personally, these are my experiences. When I am with friends and I'm hanging out with friends, I'm hanging out with people, that fills my cup. Like that makes me feel energized, that makes me feel happy. I love doing that. I love being with friends and I love planning things with friends, and I just love being around the people that I care about, the people that I love. Yes. I also really enjoy meeting new people, right? I feel like the people who know me or like that don't know me quite well enough, like think that I'm antisocial a little bit because of how I act, like because of how I self-sabotage. Like sometimes like I'll plan things with someone and then I'll cancel last minute because like I feel like my fear and anxiety gets in the way, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to go, I'm tired. I don't actually think I'm tired sometimes. I think I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like self-sabotaging. Yes, that's the whole point. And when I meet new people, I get kind of shy and I get kind of introverted, which again, I don't really know why, because I wouldn't consider myself an introvert, but it's like kind of a self-sabotaging like coping mechanism to just like be in my shell and be in my comfort zone, which is why I think I do these things. So then I miss out on opportunity, I miss out on new people, I miss out on kind of a lot of things because of what? I don't know. And so as I was sitting here thinking, I was wondering, or I was thinking about like, why do I do this to myself, you know? Why do I kind of stop myself from good things, you know, happening to me? And as I said earlier, my kind of theme of this year was trying to lead with love instead of fear or shame. And I mentioned in my New Year's video, a quote at the very beginning. It was like, we cannot shame ourselves into change. We can only love ourselves into evolution. And I feel like this kind of relates back to that topic from all the way from January. And somehow from the lines of like self-sabotage, I began to think about another video idea I had, which was like finding your inner child and like, you know, being your authentic self. Because I feel like I was kind of self-sabotaging myself at one point, and this was like a few months ago. I'm gonna share that story. Basically, I was feeling a lot of self-doubt about my future, you know, my career path, just like what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be in life. Because of, I'm gonna be so honest, it was because of college admissions. Like I was tweaking, honestly. From when I was like young, I basically had my whole life planned out. And after high school, my plan was so set. I was so confident that I was gonna get all the things I wanted, get to the places I wanted to be, and like have no issues. Like I felt like life was just so easy for me, and that I could just get whatever I wanted because I was just that person, you know. And I honestly, I truly believe that, and I was really confident in myself that I could get to these points and these checkpoints in life that I wanted to get to. So again, like I said, I had basically my whole life planned out, and then one thing like didn't work out, and I began to tweak. Like I'm kind of one of those people that like if we plan something in advance, you know, everything's set, and then people start changing little details about it, I kind of start to internally tweak out because I planned everything around this, everything I planned it, stop changing things, you know. And so I feel like when I didn't get accepted into, you know, my top school that I wanted to, I was like, that's it, my life's I'm kidding, I didn't think that. I was like, damn. That's honestly the best word I can use to describe this. I was like, man, like I started to think like, why could I do it? Why was I so special that I think I could get all these things and reach all these goals, you know? Why did I think I was part of that 12% that could get into the school? Why did I think, what made me so special that I could think these things? Which was so disheartening because I had never been that kind of person, you know? I've always believed in myself. I always had a lot of confidence in myself, and just like feeling these things and thinking these things really brought me down and really kind of disrupted who I thought I was as a person. Maybe what I thought I was gonna do and like what I was gonna be, like maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe that wasn't right. And I began to doubt myself and like, you know, my interests, and I kind of had like an identity crisis because, you know, I have wanted this for so long and then it didn't work out. I was just like, oh, damn, like I was damn. And there's no other way to put it. And I began to kind of question my identity a little bit too, because if I didn't want this, if this wasn't right for me, then like what was? Like who am I if not this, you know? And I was going through a phase. I'll be honest, I was going through a phase, and you know, there was a lot of self-doubt, there was a lot of self-sabotage. I was like, you know, I can't even describe like what I was feeling. But anyways, you know, fast forward a little bit, I found these old videos of myself from when I was young. I was in like elementary school, you know. They were pretty old, like they were like childhood videos of me, you know. And in those videos, I realized while watching them back, I realized that I haven't changed at all. And I want to say this in the best way possible. Like in this aspect that I'm talking about, I hadn't changed. I still had the same personality. I honestly kind of had the same sense of humor. I had the same interest. For what I want to do in like my future, kind of, and like what I've always wanted to do, has never wavered since the moment I could remember, And when I watched back these old videos, I realized how true that was, how true to myself that I was. And it was kind of, I don't know if I just got burnt out, but it was like a little part of me just like got a little spark again, a little spark, and it kind of lit a fire in me to realize my path that I want to go on, my path that I'm gonna like plunge forward in, is the path for me. And I knew it was right, because little me she never doubted herself. She always knew what she wanted. She always, fought and had a drive to get what she wanted. And I was looking back at these old videos and I realized, like, this is my path. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. My plans that I had and my goals, they are right for me. Because looking back at videos before I could even like think about like adulthood, I didn't think about those things. I was just being myself. It still translates to who I am now, and I haven't changed. So this kind of like brought me back to myself and brought me back to kind of who I am, when before I was having these thoughts, like these self-doubting thoughts, which were kind of self-sabotaging me in a way. And I honestly, I truly believe that it came out of a place of fear, because I was like, I had my entire life planned out for whatever. Don't do that. I don't recommend doing that. I had it all planned out, then I didn't get what I wanted, or things didn't work out. Like some things did work out, some things didn't work out. And, I started to fear the unknown, and I know that about myself, that I do kind of fear things that I don't know. Like that's kind of like I say I'm like a control freak. I'm not a control freak, but I just say that because I just like to know everything and like to kind of have a sense of control over the things in my life. And when things weren't working out, when things weren't going the way I planned, I got really scared, because I was like venturing into new territory that I haven't dreamed about, that I haven't thought so hard about, which brings me back to my point earlier about not living through fear. I don't really know what the point of this video is, because I actually don't really have any solutions for you. If you're feeling this way, or if you've been feeling this way, or you can kind of relate to me, I wish I had answers for you. I wish I had answers for myself, but I just don't. But I'm making this video just to, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. But, if you're feeling these things, I want you to know that you're not alone, and that it's a very real life thing to feel. The whole point, a kind of a good grasp over what I've been talking about in this video, is to be okay with getting out of your comfort zone. And I hate to be that person. I'm so sorry. I know you've heard it a million times, but if you really want to reach a goal, you really want to do something, it's going to take discomfort, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be scary, and you probably won't like the process, but that process is molding you into who you need to be to like reach that goal, if that makes sense. Which is something I realized as I was sitting on this chair and recording this video. Also, although I don't have many actual solutions for you, I hope your takeaway from this video is to just lead with love and not out of fear. And that things will be uncomfortable, but if it's right for you, and if it's what is meant for you, it will happen. So I hope you enjoyed. Kind of a short one, I think. Maybe, probably not. I hope things work out for you.